Party people and the place to be. What's good? It's the number one chief rocker in Knicks universe, your main man, Uncle Freezy. And I am taking an attempt at doing a early morning podcast. So it's about 4:14 in the morning. And I am going to try to talk about a few topics as I get my tea ready. Right? So I have some tea in front of me in the Disney mug. This should be a fun hour or so as I try to break down a few things. Knicks related, some NBA related stuff. But mostly talking about balancing roster stuff and trades, not trades themselves, but moves and things, like how to move in the offseason. The move you make is one thing, but how you make the moves are another thing. How you go about making the moves are another thing. So thank y'all for joining me as I rock the spot for a little bit in a space that I'm not really familiar with. Thank you for everybody checking this out on YouTube. Also, thank you to everyone that is listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and everywhere else you listen to your audio podcast from. Appreciate y'all for coming in and rocking with me. All right. All right. So I have a bag that I want to get into briefly. And basically what it starts with is it's setting the stage for the off season, right? Like assessing internally what you have, right? Grading the players that you have, identify what it is that you're missing, things of that sort. All right. And then assessing our situation. How much money do we have? How many draft picks do we have? Is the environment right to be a player? Is it not? Then there is that delicate balance of upgrading the roster and things of that sort, who to bring in, and if their skill set matches and does their personality matches, right? Then you evaluate potential move and blah, 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 so on and so on. So I have a bunch of notes that I comprised. So yeah. Salute y'all. So salute to the chat. So I'm gonna get into a bag, kinda, right? I'm not gonna get into um so I'm not gonna get into a um um a beef bag. What I'm gonna get into is I just want to have a conversation with y'all. Just I want to stir one's intellect about the upcoming situation. So I want to have a rhetorical conversation, kinda. Salute to Wiz, salute to Mega NYK in the building, man. I see y'all. C Mac, Steph Curry up visiting us this morning. Okay. All right, I see you. So I have a humongous mug of tea here in front of me. I have about 4 pages of notes, and I find myself doing the notes, right, so that I won't drift. But y'all know I'm not going to read this verbatim. You know what I'm saying? If it was just a verbatim thing, I would have just added it to the Lawrence Tears newsletter. Oh, that tea hit the spot. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, yeah, man. It seems as if hot tea always hits the spot early in the morning. Like these hours here, 4 o'clock on the East Coast. Seems like seems like that tea seems like tea always hits the spot. Right. So I have a bunch of things that I want to talk to you guys about. Let me first start by saying let me first start by addressing one thing so I can get it off my mind. The fact that Julius Randle had postseason ankle surgery after a bad playoff loss is going to strike a lot of people differently. And so what I'm going to do is let the fans handle that. I've already been on Twitter, talking to, atting people about how stupid they sound, right? But for this right here, this balancing the roster upgrades and when I typed the title, man, I was so proud of myself. Wiz, when I did the title, I was so proud of myself, bro. When I was doing the description for this, I was so proud of myself, man, because I'm not a writer like this. I'm not a writer in this format. I'm more of a detailed writer. Like if you have a garden, I can describe the hell out of that garden in text. Right? Right? I'm going to describe the breezes and where it's coming from and the aroma and all of that stuff. See, I write like that. When it comes to the sports writing, though, I'm not one of those that get down to the nitty gritty. And in case y'all can't tell, if you've ever read, any of the articles on the Lawrence Tears newsletter, you can tell that I'm not that type of writer per se. Like I'm not that type of writer that's gonna get to the point because I have a certain box that I have to fill, and I have to ensure that I don't go over the character limit and all of that stuff. Right. So here goes. This is what I'm saying. I want to get the Randall. I want to get in front of the Randall thing and just say, man, whether you hate the guy or love the guy, however you feel about him, when you make your educated arguments, just make sure that you have all the facts, not just how bad he looked or his attitude. Just make sure it's even. It's what I try to do. And C-Mac is one of my witnesses. C-Mac will tell you, even if I don't like something, I try to be balanced on it, like point out the positives and negatives. And then people will say, man, he wish-washy, he going back and forth. Nah, just be fair. Yeah, just be fair about certain stuff. But here goes. Here's my thing on. I'm gonna turn this off, and then that way I can get into my bag about the dangers of NBA front offices balancing roster upgrades and avoiding regression from a Knicks fan's perspective. right? So here are the first three things as you set the stage. First, as you set the stage, the first thing you want to consider, and Wiz, this is for you, right? Wiz, this is for you, right? Right? You have to discuss the expectations of the front office, right? As they continuously try to improve the team, right? And then you have to understand you have to understand there is a difference between bold moves and hasty expectations or hasty choices. I'm sorry. Like there's legit a difference between a bold move and a hasty decision. And sometimes I think we get caught up in that. Right? Right. So when do you make a bold move and when do you make a hasty choice? See, a bold move by the Knicks could be a well thought out but unanticipated move from the Knicks. You feel me? Like a bold move is not one that you just is not just knee jerk, or it doesn't have to be knee jerk. A bold move can be a well thought out plan that shocks everyone in your area. Right? Like a bold move for us, and I'm not saying this will happen. I'm not saying this will happen, but a bold move would be trading for Jimmy Butler. That's a bold move, right? In my opinion, a hasty move, in my opinion, a hasty move would be trading for Karl Anthony Towns. See, the Knicks this offseason have to weigh whether a bold move helps them in the short term and the long term. Right? It's got to be calculated. Right? A bold move can be a long, thought out, measured approach to a purchase or trade or acquisition, right? That's a that's a if is this front office bold? Is this front office risky? And I see you guys. I see you guys. I have a script. I have a script that I'm trying to stick to, but I see y'all questions and stuff. I see them. What I'm going to try to do is balance y'all's questions and stuff versus the script that I have. And to be honest with you, I'm not really good at it. So if I miss a question, just be patient with me. Right? Just be patient with me as I kind of move through this thing. I'm trying to get better at it. So Jen Wells says, is trading for Levine a hasty move? What I would say this. If Zach Levine is on their radar, and I think he is, it's not a hasty move. It's not knee jerk. If they go after Zach LaVine, it'll be a bold move, one that will shock everybody around us because a Zach LaVine move will be a well thought out and planned acquisition. RC Creative is in the building. So as a Knicks fan, right? As a Knicks fan, during this summer, do you actually want your front office to make hasty moves? Right? In the moment moves. Strike while the iron is hot. Take advantage of the market. Do you want those moves, or do you want this front office to play the long game, the measured approach? How does this affect us in the long term and the short term? Are we getting bang for our buck? How much value is there? Could we gain more if we wait? Could we gain more if we wait? It's as simple as that. Could we gain more if we wait? But still capitalize on an asset, buy that asset or acquire that asset with the least amount of assets going out. Can we do that? And so here's my other part to it. You have to explore the consequences of a front office failing to strike the right balance. So that's the key in my mind. This front office, Leon Rose's front office, this offseason has to understand the consequences of failing to strike the right balance of a hasty decision, strike while the iron is hot, take advantage of the market, or a bold move. Wow, did they really just trade for Jimmy Butler? Wow, are they really contemplating going after Anthony Davis? Are they really putting a package together for Joel Embiid? Those are bold moves. Right? What about your hasty move though? Do you just go out and get some guys to go in around Randall and Brunson? There are a lot of things to think about. Y'all tell me how y'all feel about that. What do you want your front office to do? And I say your, I don't mean it as your, I mean our. And I probably should have said our. All right, here's a good question. What if they go get PG-13? PG-13 was off the radar. And if they take a measured approach to getting him, I think that is a very bold move. Very bold. I think that's a very bold move. T. Smith is in the building. Okay. So the front office, before they even do anything, Before they do anything, they have to consider the dangers and risks involved with failing to strike the right balance. Because at the end of the day, this team is still a second round team. And you want to remain at a minimum a second round team. At a minimum, the status quo is acceptable, right? Of course, you'd like to get better, but at the same time, you don't want to take steps backward. We did a mock offseason Friday night, I think it was Friday night. Right? Everybody's the smartest team president, GM in the world until they get in that seat. We did a mock draft or a mock offseason Friday night. And the further we got into it, the more we realized being a team president in an NBA front office is hard. You hear me? Being a team president, running a NBA front office is difficult. Because one bad move can get you in that quicksand of more bad moves to make up for the bad move that you made. And before you know it, you're out of there. Shout out to B Baller for real. Okay, I see you. So before the Knicks, for the lack of a better term, pull the trigger on anything, I think what they have to do is risk assessment on the short term and long term, right? While having measures of damage control in place in case something happens. Most people call that a plan B. So you have to have measures in place and thing in case things don't go your way. That way it won't mess up the entire plan. And that is what's called a plan B. And for those that don't know what I'm talking about, per se, and I know you do, but I'll give a colorful example. Say you take your girl or your loved one, whoever, out on a walk, right? You're like, I just want to get you by yourself. I want to kind of get you away from your sisters and brothers so that we can talk, right? And say you take a walk in a park, right? But you see the clouds up top, but you know in about a mile and a half, there's a shelter, a wooden shelter down the way. So you get halfway and you see the raindrops in front of you start to hit the pavement, right? It's cool. Drizzle never hurt anyone, or at least we don't think it has, right? But your girl like, oh man, I'm gonna get my hair wet. So you take your coat off and you wrap it around her head, and then y'all hold hands, y'all walk a little bit, and the rain starts to come down a little harder, and then you're like, hey, I know a place, and you go to that place, right? And behind one of the wood foundations, you had some flowers for her. So you walk up there in the rain, y'all get there, you're like, whew, I'm glad we made it out of the rain. And then you reach around the thing and you have flowers there already because you're smart. You thought ahead. Plan B. Right? If you're the Knicks front office, I think you have to be in the mindset that this offseason, If you make a bold move, do you have a plan B? If you make a hasty move, do you have a plan B? And are plan Bs necessary for everything? No, no. Only for hasty moves and bold moves. Small moves, you don't need a plan B. You just change direction. Right? Small moves, you don't need a plan B. Right? Say, for instance, you try to sign Miles McBride back to a 3-year guaranteed deal, but he don't want a 3-year guaranteed deal. He want a 2-year guaranteed. That way, if he gets screwed and still is on the bench, he can get out after 2 years and go take a shot on another team. Right? Well, okay. You don't want to sign 3. You don't want to sign 2. We want 3. You want 2. Well, we won't sign you. We'll just go get another second round point guard out of the draft. That's just pivoting. But here is the thing: as I walk back, as I pace back and forth to get my thoughts together before getting here, right? As I pace back and forth before getting here to collect my thoughts, I thought about this. Wacko. Wacko, thank you for the generous contribution. Wacko says CAA Mafia, get Cat now and circle back for Spider. Okay. All right. All right. I hear you. Honestly, Wacko, I'm with you on the Cat deal if you get a compliment. I don't think Cat is a deal that you bring him here by himself. You have got to bring a compliment here with Karl Anthony Towns. Because if you think Knicks fans are eating up Julius Randle right now and he had a bad ankle, just imagine what they'll do to Cat. You got to bring in another guy and insulate Cat. So here's the thing. Is it warm in here? Is it just me? Hold on, y'all. Hold on. That tea had me warm a little bit, man. I had to shed some clothes, man. I had to come out of that hoodie, man. That tea got me a little warm. But yeah, here's the thing that I want to get to. The Knicks are a second round team. We know what the roster looks like, kinda. We're in a tough spot, man, because we think we know what the roster looks like, but we don't actually. Right? Let me ask Wacko this, since Wacko did the generous contribution. Let me ask Wacko this. Wacko, what do we actually have on this roster? What do we have on this? I mean, outside of Brunson, outside of Randall, what is RJ Barrett? What is Quentin Grimes? What is Emmanuel Quickly? What is Obi Toppin? Do we know what those guys are yet? You feel me? Knicks for life is in the building. Shout out to Knicks for life. Tip the cap to Knicks for life. Up early this morning, probably working hard on something. Yo, and I know as a side note, I'm just gonna say this, and I know adults usually don't speak this way. Adults usually don't speak the way I speak, but ain't nobody more funnier to be around than Knicks for life, bro. I ain't even gonna lie to you, bro. Like last year, so we was doing this show, and he would say stuff that would some stuff would be serious and get you in the moment. Like, damn, I ain't even thought about it like that. And then other stuff would make you laugh, like the natural laugh. You know what I'm saying? Like this dude talking like he my cousin or something. So shout out to Knicks for life. Hope he doing good. Illmatics is in the building. Illmatics, listen, I got all my notes jotted down now. You know how I tend to get off track, right? Y'all know how I tend to get off track. So I have all my stuff written down and I have it outlined. Say this, say this, say this, say this. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. And Knicks for life. I started not to say it because I know in this era that we live in, people, when you compliment others, people will think you soft or a cornball, right? Like when you compliment, like when you compliment people, like when I tell Wacko thank you, you know what I'm saying? Cats be like, oh, that's corny. People don't talk like that no more. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they do. It's a bunch of us out here that talk like that. There's a bunch of people out here that's sincere like that. You know what I'm saying? That appreciate people and accept people for who they are. You know what I mean? You know how people have flaws, and you like, yeah, I don't care if they have flaws, man. I have flaws myself. So the point I'm getting to is based on the Knicks' recent performance, right, and roster composition. What do you do really? What do you do really, right? What do you do really? The Knicks are a second round team. Randall didn't make moves in the playoffs like he should have. The young kids didn't step up like you thought they would. Do you give up on Randall? Do you give up on the young kids just because they didn't perform in the second round like you thought? Or do you add pieces around them? It's a question I'm asking in chat. That one's not rhetorical. Maybe I should have said that one's not rhetorical. So, chat, I'm asking you the question. The Knicks are a second round team, and based on the roster that you see, right? Do you make major moves because the young kids didn't step up and Randall didn't step up? Do you get rid of Randall? Do you compliment Randall? Do you go get a guy that plays in front of Randall? Do you go get somebody that gets Randall the ball in better places? Do you talk to the coaching staff about diversifying their vanilla offense? BT in the building. One of these days, BT is going to be a social media sensation, man. One of these days. So, shout out to Brian Townsend. One of these days, he going to be a social media sensation. One of these days. One of these days, BT going to be like, I started somewhere, some guy with a patchy beard, with a nappy patchy beard was trying to talk me to death. Yeah, man. So as you analyze what you have and where you are, as you analyze what you have and what you are, and you measure that on what you want and what you want to be, how far are you away? I'm asking El Maddox this. El Maddox, you know I'm a nerd for it's funny that your man Uncle Freezy is a nerd that grew up in the streets, right? So y'all know I'm a nerd that kind of grew up in the streets, right? So I grew up in the streets. You know, I know everything about everything. I know about stealing cars. I know about the drug game. I know about stealing, robbing, mugging, all of that. I know about all that stuff. Some of that stuff I seen in person, and some of that my friends would tell me about it or whatever. Yeah, but I'm a nerd, bro. I never wanted to be that, right? I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't never wanted to be that. I have friends that went down that road. I ain't want to go down that road. I'm different from them, right? So I preface the question to Il Maddox because it's going to sound super nerdy. Il Maddox, this is my question for you. How do you measure where you are, right? Who you are and where you are versus who you want to be and where you want to go? How do you do that? If you're the Knicks, how do you measure where you are and where you want to go, right? I think I phrased that wrong. Basically, it's you want to go somewhere. How do you measure where you want to go versus where you are? And see, that was one of the questions that confounded me as I put this piece together. As I put this piece together, I was thinking, okay, we're a second round team. We have holes all over the roster. We may be able to fix those holes internally, right? We may be able to fix those holes internally, but then again, we may not. I'm with you also. I'm confounded. I am confounded. I'm not conflicted because I know what we want to be, but I don't know how we fix it. Right? It's like when I tell myself, I've been telling myself for 2 years that I'm gonna get into bodybuilding, right? And I know I want to do that, right? At my age, I know I'm not gonna be Mr. America or Mr. Olympus, right? But I do want to work on certain things. Part of that is diet, right? Part of that is diet. So I have all types of healthy stuff in here to eat. Salmon, broccoli, chicken breast, spinach. I have all those things in here. Like I legit know where I want to go. But some days I be wanting me a big ice. Yo, I want like a big iced Texas honey bun from the. I don't even want it from a pastry place, right? I want it from a gas station, like a gas station honey bun. You know what I'm saying? And some strawberry milk or something, right? And so I know what I want to be. I don't always know how to get there or don't have the discipline to get there. And if you're the Knicks, do you know who you want to be? Do you know where you are and where you want to go? And do you have a plan on getting there? Right? BT know what I'm talking about. BT knows what I'm talking about. And so I think if you do have a understanding of that, where you want to be in the long term, how do you get there? Is it just personnel? What challenges do you face? BT, what challenges do you face if you're the Knicks and you want to be a championship contender? What challenges do you face? What challenges do you face? Where the Knicks are right now, a second round team with holes all over the roster. You want to be a championship contender. You know that there are teams in front of you. How do you get there? What are your challenges? Can you sign high profile free agents? No. I mean, you got Jalen Brunson. He turned into a high profile free agent after we got here. But he wasn't that before he got here. He turned into that while he was here. Same thing with Julius Randle. Julius Randle wasn't a high profile free agent. He turned into that when he got here. High profile player. How do you convince the Giannis's of the world that you are just as good as them? How do you convince the Jokic's of the world that you are a great destination? In my belief, these are the type of questions we need to be asking each other, right? I understand the level. I understand what Knicks fans are saying. Knicks fans are saying stuff like, man, just go get Davis Bertans. He a shooter. All we need is a shooter. Go get Davis Bertans or Joe Harris and we good. No, that's not it. One or two great shooters is not going to take us to a championship, in my opinion. I think you have to have culture setters. I think you have to have culture setters. Right? Culture setters. That's what you need. So if you must upgrade the roster, how do you go about upgrading your roster? Hey, C-Mac says culture setters who can shoot. Yeah, yeah. Hey, C-Mac, I'm with you on part of that. I just think the shooting part, um, let me allow me to compromise with C-Mac. So I want to compromise with C-Mac, and it's not a terrible compromise. C-Mac, what if I said I'd be with you only if, or I'd be with you if allowed to change the verbiage a little bit? How about culture setters who can score efficiently and consistently? I think that's a rather good compromise. culture setters who can score efficiently and consistently, regardless if it's playoffs or regular season. I just want to. I'm offering a compromise. Listen, man. We all have our different opinions. We all have different experiences and things of that sort. Right now, I'm rocking the mic early in the morning by myself, and what I want to do is give everybody a true value of what it is that I want to say to everybody. Right on this podcast, we're recording it. I'm going to put it out there for Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Alexa, Stitcher, and everybody. Thank y'all always as usual. I'm gonna ask y'all to hit the follow button, on those apps. And I know when we do, like during the week, when we have the conversations, when you have 7 or 8 people trying to speak, everybody wants to have a point and a counterpoint and a rebuttal and a topic and a filibuster. I know y'all often don't get a chance to hear me relay how I feel about multiple topics. And I feel like this is the time to do it. And I know the name of the topic is balancing the roster, upgrades, and avoiding regression and all of that stuff. But what I really want to do, my true intent is to speak to that, but also let you guys in on how I really feel about a lot of Knicks topics. And so I'll stray a little bit, but I have a outline in front of me. So I'll stray, but I'll come back. And I know the vast majority of you guys may not agree with me on these, but at least you'll know where I'm coming from. Right? So first of all, I want the Knicks to be respectable going forward. Right? The reason why I put certain numbers on the screen while people are talking is because I don't want to have the conversation about my Knicks dragged into the gutter. I want respect put on the Knicks name. Right? And so when people talk trash about Randall, I'm like, easy, man. Easy, relax. He's our all-star. We can't trash everybody we got and not just Randall, but it's RJ, it's Brunson, it's Mitch. I'd like to exist in a place where you guys get a good product on a daily basis. And me too. I'd like to have Knicks Universe, these streets out here in Knicks Universe, be a place where we respect each other's opinions, for one. Like, just because you say something I don't like, that mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't care. You do you. Do you. You be a fan how you want to be a fan. I'm not the judge. Don't judge me either. Right? 2, I want the ownership to be championship focused. Right? I want our ownership to be championship focused. Doesn't mean you're going to win a championship every year, but every move that we make should be centered on moving towards a championship. Every draft pick we make should be centered around building towards a championship. I'd like the media to finally start saying positive things about us. I'd like for you guys to be proud of the blue and orange. I want you guys to feel like when you click on the Lawrence Tears thing on YouTube, or if you're listening to this on a audio podcast, that when you choose to click on this, that you get positive vibes, even if you don't agree with the topic or the opinions. Like, you don't have to agree with everything I say, but when you click on Lawrence Tears, it's like, yo, I at least know that these cats feel good about the team and the environment. Right? Because everybody's going to have different opinions. Right? Some people who have the troll nature, they disagree because they don't like going with the crowd. So what? Let them live. Let them be themselves. Like, some people troll because that's how they cope with stuff. And so what? I'm like, yo, let them live. Right? The other thing is I want our front offices and everybody that come into our this Knicks universe. DSJ is in the building. DSJ, what's good, boss? So I want the ownership to pursue championships. Like don't wine and dine me. Don't when we buy a suite, don't try to upsell me on Billy Joel during the summertime. I don't care. I don't care about Billy Joel. I do care about Billy Joel, by the way, but that's a separate issue. Yeah, y'all get what I'm saying. I want the ownership to mainly be concerned about winning. Just be concerned about not splashing that. And so the other thing too that I would like for the Knicks to do is acquire a guy that's going to represent us every year. And I think we may have that guy right now. I think it may be Brunson. I think Jalen Brunson may be that guy. So basically what I'm saying to you is there are franchises big like ours, and their main goal and their main lot in life is to win championships. Your Golden States, they don't care about all this others. They want to win championships. Your Boston Celtics, they don't care about stuff. They just want to win championships. Your LA Lakers, they don't care about stuff. They just want to win championships. And so your New York Knicks, I want them to be in that conversation also. That's what I want. I want Knicks fans to feel a sense of pride, a sense of respect. I want these Knicks to have us be proud of who we are as Knicks fans. And for that reason, I am at my computer 5 a.m. on a Sunday morning talking about balancing roster upgrades and avoiding regression. C-Mac, I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. Ultimately, the reason why I do this is so that the fans can have a voice, because there are a lot of Knicks fans channels everywhere. They interview important people, or they have fancy graphics, or they have all these different things. And man, listen, more power to them. I wish them much success. Here, what I'd like is for you guys to have a place to vent. Y'all remember what it's like when you call a radio station? They be like, tell me your name, where you calling from. And you be like, yo, this is Uncle Freezy from the Hill in Jersey City. Uncle Freezy, what's on your mind? Hey, man, I like Pat Ewing. Thank you for calling. Thank you for calling WRKS ESPN radio. Y'all know the vibe. And so I'm a little bit off track. I'm gonna get back on track. No. So I'm gonna ask the chat, how do we strike the balance of maintaining our momentous integrity? I'll call it that. I'm going to call it our momentous integrity. That seems like the best way to describe where we come from to where we are. Momentous integrity. Like we're legit climbing the ladder by doing things our way. So how do we maintain that while also adding more talent? C-Mac says, I'm tired of being the laughing stock of the league. No more. Right. I'm with you, boss. I'm with you, boss. Hey, BT, I got a show about that. I got film coming on that. I have film on stuff like this because this is not Randall. This is not Randall. This is a system. This is a system that we're in. So how do you maintain this momentum and add new pieces without? Okay. And okay, let me ask this question to y'all. Anybody in here remember that song, Don't Disturb This Groove? Don't disturb this groove. How do you not disturb the groove? Right? Because we have something good. We have something good in place, and we want to make it better. But how do we make it better without disturbing the groove? BT says, leave that sign up on the door. Don't disturb this groove. My dog looking at me. Shut up, doggy. My dog is looking at me. He's like, what are you doing in there? B-Baller for real says the system is the artist. Yeah, I remember them. That was the jam too. But it applies to us. I think that should be the motto. I think that should be our motto for the offseason. Don't disturb this groove, right? But at the same time, we do have to upgrade in certain areas. Fritz Halcina is in the building. Fritz says there's going to be some pain going forward. Knicks can't have 3-6 men. Consolidating is going to be painful. One step back may happen to go forward. Right. And Wiz ironically says we need to get to Whitehead and Peoples. Whitehead and Peoples ain't no stopping us now. Or that is that Yarborough and Whitehead and Peoples. It's something. Yarborough and Peoples. Is that Yarborough and Peoples? Ain't no stopping us now. So, in not disturbing the groove, you have to carefully and meticulously Yarborough. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You have to carefully and meticulously go over the free agent market, because just like we tell our kids and maybe even our parents, you tell your kids this when you're young, but then you wind up telling your parents this as you get older. Just because you have money doesn't mean you need to spend it. McFadden and Whitehead. Okay, okay, okay. Wiz, you understand? Wiz, are you at that stage yet? I think me and Wiz maybe around the same age, a little bit. He might be a little bit older than me, maybe. But the more you realize, like, when you tell your parents used to tell you, just because you have money don't mean you need to spend it. And then as an adult, you tell your kids, just because you have money doesn't mean you need to spend it. And then the older you get, once you get into your 50s and eventually your 60s, you have to tell your parents, Pop Dukes, just because you got money don't mean you need to spend it. Come on. Where's you 60? Where's you 61? Wiz, you don't look, I ain't gonna lie, Wiz, you don't look a day over 60 and a half. I ain't gonna lie. Wiz says I'm older. Okay. 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 All right. I see you, boss. And Fritz says Knicks won't spend their full mid-level. I don't think any big free agent should be looked at. There are a couple of cheap gems. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you on this. So Mr. Alcindor, I know you probably wasn't here from the very beginning then. I don't know if you heard the bold move versus hasty decisions part, but based off of what you said, you fall into that bold move area where you take your time, meticulously think about stuff, and then depending on what is there, you make your move, a bold one. And Wacko says Leon isn't paying 20 mil to backups quickly and Obi. Leon didn't draft RJ and Mitch. All assets to get Cat and Spider. Knicks fix. Okay. As long as it's Cat and Spider together. But if it's Cat by himself, I'm not. No. No. And the ironic part to Wacko's thing, Wacko, I have bars, right? I'm a bar spitter. Well, hey, Wacko, I'm a bar spitter, right? But it's ironic that we out here saying we need dogs and we out here chasing spiders and cats. And if you go get Spider, if you go get Cat, does this disrupt the team's chemistry? If you go, think about it. If you make major changes like that, are you going to disrupt the team's chemistry? I don't know if it happens. Maybe the chemistry gets better. I don't know. I'm asking a question from a position of innocence. Like it's not a trap question. It's all in asking the question. Wiz, I don't know what this means. I don't know what that means. Alcinda says I'm out on cash. His contract backs up in the corner. We need flexibility. He's not the end game. Yeah. Coach is up early this morning. Coach, what you doing up early this morning, man? Coach is up early this morning, rocking with a salute to Coach. So, Coach, in case you missed anything else, man, before this, in case you've been rocking and this is just your first comment, yeah, I'm doing an audio podcast. I'm just rocking and rolling a little bit. Put something out there in the audio podcast sphere, right? Man, I'm leaving a lot of stuff out as I move and groove. But so what? So I have a note here. Explore the research and analysis required in assessing potential player acquisitions. Is Cat a good fit? Hey, touche, my brother. Wacko, thank you for the generous contribution. Wacko says dogs don't win. Kings and snipers do lately. All right, touche. Touche. I got you. Oh, you know what? And I ain't even do this is so dumb. This is so dumb. I don't know why I always forget to do this, right? So I don't know what's y'all preferred podcast? What do y'all listen to most? Which platform do y'all use most? Which platform do y'all use? Do you use Apple Music, Spotify, Google Podcasts? Which one do you use most? I mean, my preference is Spotify, and it's just because I'm just used to it. So I'm gonna put. Let me see here. You know what? No, I'm not. What I should do is this. Get the link to the website and then have y'all choose. So I got the website link. And what I'm going to ask y'all to do, there it is. I have it pinned. So what I'm going to ask y'all to do is follow us on whichever platform you use, and download the podcast on whatever platform you use. Wiz says Pandora. I don't know if I'm on Pandora. To be honest with you, Wiz, I may be doing us a disservice. I'll look that up after this to see if we can get added to Pandora. And Wacko says you focusing on just Cat instead of the squad, Brunson, Spider. No, you're not listening to. No, you're not listening to what I said. You totally did not listen to what I said. In this lineup alone, you have 3 different people coming, right? You have 3 different people coming. Wacko, in this lineup that you have up here, you have 3 new people. You have Spider, McDaniels, and Cat. And what I said is, no, I'm not entertaining Cat coming here by himself. If Cat is coming here, he has to bring people with him. They have to bring people with him. That's what I said. And then you put up this Spider, McDaniels, and Cat. Is literally saying the same thing that I just said. Oh, my bad. I know. See, we think alike on a lot of different things. We think a lot alike on a lot of different things, man. Chat, y'all better listen to what that man say. And I think I read this already, but Wacko says dogs don't win. Kings and snipers do lately. I think I read that already. And then there was a super chat that I didn't read earlier today. So I got to go back and find that one. I think it was Justo 11 had a super chat while we were doing the show. I didn't get a chance to read it. My apologies. So I'm going to find it really quick. So Justo11, thank you for the generous contribution. He says Jules gets fouled a lot, but the NBA needs the next Larry Bird. So, yeah. And Soulfinger, thank you for the generous contribution. Soulfinger says, "Yo, does a bear take us?" And what? I see you, Soulfinger. Thank you for the generous contribution, Soulfinger. All right. Again, so if you're rocking with me at 5:27 on a Sunday morning, thank you for all the diehards that love New York Knicks content. Appreciate y'all. Yo, it's motivation. Like, no lie. When I legit, and I know this is not the biggest Knicks channel, right? I know it's not the biggest Knicks channel, and maybe we don't want to be that. We just want to be ourselves, right? But when I click on the go button and then I see all of y'all showing up, like, yeah, we in here. It kind of get me hyped up. Like, I don't ever take y'all for granted. Which again goes to this thing, like, when you speak sincere, people think you soft until, until they see you in person. And then they be like, oh, okay. Yo, Elvis is in the building. So just real quick, I'm trying to stay on topic, but I wanted to talk about the role of chemistry and team cohesion Because if you manipulate the roster, if you make wholesale changes, as you're not guaranteed to get chemistry straight away. Right? You're not guaranteed to get an infusion of talent doesn't necessarily mean an infusion of chemistry. And Troy said, bro, why the live? It just, I'm actually, hey, Mr. Troy, so I'm actually recording this as an audio podcast, and I was going to just do record without the live chat. But I was like, you know what? I'll just do it with it. Right? So for the ones that don't prefer the audio podcast, they can get this. And the ones that prefer the audio podcast, they can get this. Right? So I don't usually rock this time of morning. I don't. G Streets is in the building. So if we talk about the role of chemistry and team cohesion, do y'all think maybe removing some parts and adding other parts will shake the chemistry or enhance the chemistry? Because here's the thing. Just because you have chemistry doesn't mean that chemistry can't get better. Just because you have chemistry with one group doesn't mean you can't get better chemistry with another group. It's something to consider. Now, of course, if you rock the boat, it may go in the other direction. It may. It's life, man. Y'all know what it is. I ain't gotta talk that grown-up talk to y'all. Y'all already know. Y'all already know these things, man. Y'all already know these things to be facts. Y'all already know these things to be facts, man. In my opinion, I think we're in a groove, right? And I think somebody quoted the group The System when they said, hang that sign up on the door, don't disturb this groove, right? So what somebody in the chat said. What I'm saying is, excuse me, the thing that's most important to me is this place that we're at. This place that we're at, right? I want the Knicks to be respectable. I want the Knicks to be on a championship hunt every year. I want people to put respect on our name. I want this team to be competitive every year, right? I want the players on this team to earn their check, not just on the court, but off the court, right? I want a well-built roster that can sustain for a long time, right? And I know that's a bunch of I want, right? But at the same time, I think those are the same things that y'all want also. Y'all want people to put respect on the Knicks name. Y'all want championships. Y'all want stars that come here and play at a high level and want to be here. Y'all want to beat our rivals. Y'all want a star or stars that are going to give it their best every night and occasionally give you a Broadway performance, even though we don't look for that on a nightly basis because we only look for wins. We want to be consistent. So while it sounds like I have a laundry list of things that I want, it's actually a laundry list of things that we want. Y'all feel me? So here's the thing. With that said, how do we navigate the external pressure? External pressure is a real thing. External pressure is a real thing. And I know, I understand. If I could borrow one of Jay-Z's old school references, that pressure bust pipes. I understand that. So the external pressure for us is not, see, because we apply internal pressure. You feel me? We're applying internal pressure. External pressure is Boston trying to get good and win championships at the same time we're trying to get good and win championships. External pressure is ESPN putting pressure on our players on a nightly basis. External pressure is the New York media slandering us every chance they get. Travel Vibes is in the building. How do we address the external pressure? To me, it's as simple. To me, the external pressure can be solved and resolved with one 3-letter word, and y'all know what it is. Win. Win. So I got a couple of more topics that I want to talk about, and we can get as in depth as you want in those. Y'all let me know how y'all feel. How important, this is my question for y'all, right? How important is learning lessons from past front offices to this front office? So Troy is a Pistons fan. Shout out to the Pistons, man. I got mad family up there, man. I got mad family in Detroit. Hey Troy, would you do the number 5 pick and Bagley for Randall? Is that what you said? And to the chat, how important are the lessons from previous regimes to this regime? What do y'all think about that? DSJ says win. Yeah. Screw everything else. Win. I'm going to say the lessons from the previous regimes, paramount. Don't do BT says, I want Jalen Duren from the Pistons if we trade Randall. BT, you can't have it all, bro. You can't have it all. You know what I mean? In chat, Troy says, yeah, I'd like that. We need a veteran scorer. Meanwhile, some people in Knicks universe want Randall out of here for free. So Troy, salute to you, man, and I hope great things happen for the Pistons, man. I hope y'all get everything that y'all need. You know what I'm saying? Except for when y'all play us. And I hope that's understandable. And BT says, I know, but Randall, I don't want to trade right. Yeah, I get it. I get it. So the thing is, with the lessons of past regimes, I think you have to take into account their missteps in order to prevent missteps going forward. Right? All right. So the last thing that I have written, it's not actually the last thing I have written, but it's one of the last things that I wanted to talk about. One of the last topics. I'm not ending right here. I'm still hanging around. I'm just emptying the clip a little bit on the topics that I have. I spoke to a lot of them. Right? I'm just gonna read it verbatim. And then that way you can understand where I'm coming from. So the importance of patience, meticulous planning, and adaptability, I think, is major. And encouraging focus on long-term stability and sustained success over short-term gains. DSJ says, if I do a deal for Randall, I look to make a deal with Memphis for Jaren. We will lose the points per game and rebounding. They're not trading you Jaren Jackson Jr., bro. Yeah, they not trading you Jaren Jackson Jr. for multiple reasons. For one, their megastar is going to be suspended for a long time. Two, you don't often find guys like Jaren Jackson Jr. at his size and his age doing the things that he can do right now. Guys like that are too hard to find. And it doesn't matter if you package RJ, Randall, and Grimes, they ain't taking that. Because a big man that moves like a guard doesn't come along often. Dudes that are 6'10, 6'11, 7 foot that can walk and chew bubblegum at the same time are rare. And so when you get one, you tend to try to keep them. So the last point that I made was long-term sustainability and accountability over short-term success. I think it's one of those things that we have to consider. I think it's one of those things that we have to consider. All right, so I have a few minutes, right? I have a few minutes left. right? I was wanting to do like 90 minutes of this, but I strayed away from it. So I'm at 90 minutes right now. If you have any questions that you want me to answer, I'm going to answer as Uncle Freezy. I'm not going to answer your questions as a moderator. If you got anything from me that you want to ask me my opinion on, I'm going to ask it as myself and not somebody that's trying to drive the conversation. G Streets is in the building. BT says or asks, what is the potential you see in RJ and IQ? So I think RJ has great potential. I just don't have the patience for it. RJ Barrett is going to get better and better and better over time, right? I just don't know if I have 2 more years of patience to watch RJ develop. I ain't gonna lie, right? He'll be 23 this week, right? I don't know if I can wait until RJ turns 25 to have his breakout. Andy is in the building. What's good, Andy? Honestly, I think RJ Barrett does have potential. Man, listen. I don't know. I'm not saying trade RJ. I'm just not going to focus as intently as I used to on RJ. Bring in some new kids. I want to see I want some new kids on the block. Oh, hanging tough, hanging tough. Right? I need some new kids on the block. I just don't have the patience for RJ. And I'm not saying that in a disrespectful way. You know what I'm saying? I'm basically saying get on with it. IQ on the other hand, IQ on the other hand is y'all know I love IQ, right? But if year 4 is like year 3, I'm putting him in that RJ conversation. Shout out to otherwise. And Wise asks, how do you feel when you heard Randall had the surgery? Hey, be safe out there going to work, man. Be safe out there in them streets, man. My thing with Randall is I'm glad he got the cleanup surgery that he needed. And when I saw the picture, I immediately thought Randall is going to be one of those Knicks that we're not going to appreciate until he's gone. Randall's got, I think, 3 more seasons as a Knick. I think Randall's got 3 more seasons or something. I personally love him as a person. I think he's a great guy as a person. I like what he brings on the floor. The unfortunate part of guys like Randall is enforcers never lead their teams to a championship. And depending on your mentality, you may not like an enforcer. I like Randall a lot. When I heard about his surgery, I thought, man, I just hope everything go well. You know what I mean? Illmatic says, thoughts on Zion. Okay, so full disclosure, Zion Williamson is my cousin. At least that's what I've been told. I've never met Zion, and I ain't seen his pops in a long time. I ain't seen his pops face to face in like 20 years. So every time basketball fans talk about Zion, I'm like, they don't even know who this kid is really. Like, they don't know how good a kid he is, man. They don't know. From what I hear from around here is that kid's a good kid, a great kid, a great kid. You know, if things don't go right in your career, it shouldn't determine how people see you as a person. But that's how things go. And Wacko says, not giving quickly 20 plus million to be a backup. If Wacko, if you given Josh Hart 19 million, then you definitely giving quickly 20 plus million. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's just how things work. If you're giving Josh Hart anything over 18 million, quickly is getting more than 20 million. I'm sorry. This is how things work. DSJ says, which is more important to you, the name franchise level player to pair with Brunson, or the fit player that you think is a missing piece? This is a good question. And I don't want to take the easy way out. I don't want to take the easy way out and say, can't you have both? I know when y'all ask these questions to YouTubers, a lot of times people will split the difference. I'm not a split the difference type person. Y'all know who I am. I'm not a split the difference type person, right? So I'll take on the challenge of this question. Which is more important to you, the name or franchise level player to pair with Brunson, or the fit, the player that you think is the missing piece? I'm going to take the former, and I'm going to take the former on this because I think it's paramount. I think it's paramount that you protect Jalen Brunson, right? We don't want Jalen Brunson for the next 2 or 3 years. We want Jalen Brunson for the next 8 seasons. So bring in a guy to play alongside Brunson that's going to keep him healthy and take stress off of Brunson, where you can get the best of both worlds. Hannah Montana. I think the perfect scenario in my mind, the perfect scenario would be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to go with Jalen Brunson. A big, tall, durable, for the most part, do-it-all guard that can create his own shot for himself and for others, and can play off ball away from Jalen Brunson, where when Jalen Brunson gets in his bag, he can do other stuff off the ball. It's why I prefer him over Devin Booker's and Bradley Beal's and things of that sort. The cheap version of that, and I don't mean in salary, I mean in acquisition cost, is Zach LaVine. But overall, DSJ, that was a great question. It's one of the best questions I've probably seen in a while. This is definitely better, one of the better summertime questions I've been asked thus far. And G Street says he can't shoot. You don't shoot 50% from the floor and score 30 points a game if you can't shoot. And Wacko, I like Spider. My only thing is that SGA is a better defender. SGA is a better defender and is the bigger guard. Like, okay, if you ask me ultimately who I want next to Jalen Brunson, Luka. Luka is who I want next to Jalen Brunson in New York. We not getting them. Who can we get? SGA. There it is. There it is. I mean, and that's for me. That's my opinion on it. Like, if for those that want Cat, I think Jalen Brunson, SGA, and Cat may do something. Coach says Grimes. Nah, Grimes ain't in a category, bro. Grimes ain't even in a no. East Blue Drew is in the building. East Blue Drew says, salute. What are you giving up for SGA? The question for me would be what I'm not giving up for SGA. You feel me? Whatever it takes. Because I'm not just thinking about SGA. Right? Now, mind you, think about my motivation. My motivation is not just the SGA acquisition. It's insulating Jalen Brunson. Right? I'm trying to protect our 6-foot guard from the rigors of seasons that we'll probably be playing over 100 games a year. Right? Ultimately, if you get SGA and somebody else, say Cat, whoever, you're going to have a team that's going to be playing over 100 games a season. Right? Don't think about going 50 and 32 or 60 and 22. That's not the goal. The goal is how you perform in the postseason. In a perfect world, the Knicks would go into this season with SGA, Brunson, and Mike Conley. Because just like how you saw Randall was injured, you want to have some guys that can, when it counts, they're healthy. John Smith is in the building. He says if Ja Morant is cut from the Grizzlies because of his suspension, should another team sign him or let his talents go overseas? Which John Moran are we getting? Are we getting the internet rapper John Morant, or are we getting the NBA professional? Because if he's still an idiot, then man, let him go play overseas somewhere. But if he learned his lesson, then I think he should have a place. Mark says, or Mark asks, would your Knicks take Jaylen Brown? It depends on Mark. Who would are you a fan of a team? You a Knicks fan? I thought you was a Knicks fan. I thought you were a Knicks fan. I ain't gonna lie. I thought Mark was a Knicks fan. The other day, I thought you was a Knicks fan. All right. I would say yes. And shout out to the Celtics. Respect to the Celtics fan base, all they fans. Say this often. If you're a fan of NBA basketball, man, come check us out. I would say yes to Jaylen Brown. And as far as the Celtics go, I'll just give y'all whatever y'all want. Just whatever you want for Jaylen Brown. Andy is in the building. Nah, NBA mad at Ja, but at max is a year suspension. They won't lifetime ban him. I know. I know, Andy. I'm just answering the question, bro. Shout out to the Pistons fans. Shout out to the Celtics fans. Shout out to the Brooklyn fans that watch. Shout out to the Sixers fans. The Hornets fans that I met in Charlotte. Every time, I don't know how it is, but every time I go to a Hornets game, I meet the same crowd of Hornets fans. It's like when you coming down the thing in the concourse, you know what I'm saying? You see them and you can hear them screaming, "Hey, Uncle Freezy!" And you look and they decked out in they teal and purple. And you're like, "What's up, y'all?" So shout out to them. Shout out to the Mavs fans that we were rocking with earlier today. We did a dope crossover collaboration event. Shout out to them. Shout out to the Hawks fans. We talk Hawks. We chopped it up with them on the same super YouTube crossover collabo. Shout out to them. And y'all, I'm gonna get out of here. Thank y'all for rocking with me. Right, I think we rocked for 100 and what minutes? 110 minutes, just about. So thank you to the members of the channel. Please consider joining, becoming a member to help support the channel, help us pay bills around here for like Photoshop and all these things that we pay for like out of pocket that people don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like StreamYard and all of that. And so shout out to y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in and rocking with us. Shout out to everybody listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, Alexa, iHeartRadio, Amazon, Pandora. Shout out to everybody on YouTube. Smash the like button. Consider subscribing. It's your main man, Uncle Freezy, the #1 Chief Rock in Knicks universe. I hope you enjoyed this early morning podcast. Peace.